I never thought I'd hear my own parents tell me, straight to my face, that my kids weren't welcome in their home. But there I was, standing in my kitchen, staring at my phone like it had just slapped me. Thanksgiving was only a few weeks away, and I was expecting the usual chat about what dishes we were each bringing. Instead, I got blindsided. My mom's voice was unusually cheery, that fake sweet tone she uses when she's gearing up to say something awful. "Honey," she said, "we need to talk about Thanksgiving this year." For a split second, I smiled. Despite all the years of tension, I still held on to those moments of family tradition like they were something sacred. My kids, Emma, 7, and Lucas, 4, loved their grandparents, even though the distance between us had grown over the years. "Of course, Mom. What's the plan?" I asked, already picturing their house filled with that warm, buttery smell of roasted turkey and cinnamon. For a moment, I let myself believe this year would feel normal. Then she paused. Not long, just enough to let the chill creep in. "Well," she started again, clearing her throat, "we're doing things a little differently this year. It's going to be smaller. Just adults. Something more intimate." I blinked. "Oh, so no kids?" Another pause. "Longer this time." "Well, no, not exactly." A cold knot twisted in my stomach. "What do you mean?" I asked slowly. Mom let out a breath, like this whole thing was hard for her. "Allie, we love your kids. We do, but they're, a little energetic. And we just think it would be best if you left them with a sitter this year." I gripped the counter. "Just my kids?" There was silence. Then she added, way too quickly, "Daniel and Sophie are bringing theirs." Daniel, of course, my older brother, their perfect child, the one who could do no wrong, even when he did. "So, Daniel's kids are invited, but mine aren't?" Mom sounded defensive now. "Well, Allie, you know how quiet and well-behaved they are. It's easier to have them at the table." Heat rushed to my face. "They're kids, Mom. Of course they're energetic, but they're sweet, and they adore you." "We're just trying to have a peaceful evening," she said, her tone suddenly sharp, like I was the one making a scene. "It's not personal." "Not personal," I choked out. "You're excluding my children from Thanksgiving dinner. How is that not personal?" She sighed, like I was exhausting her. "Allie, don't be dramatic. It's just one dinner. You and Liam are still invited, of course." I let out a short, bitter laugh. "So you want me there, but not the two people I love most in this world." "Yeah, no, Mom. If my kids aren't welcome, neither am I." Silence. Then she snapped, "Suit yourself," and hung up. I stood there in my kitchen, phone still in my hand, the hum of the fridge, the only sound. I could hear Emma and Lucas laughing in the next room, giggling as they built a pillow fort, completely unaware that their grandparents had just cast them aside, like they were an inconvenience. I took a deep breath, trying to steady the storm in my chest. I had spent my whole life trying to make my parents proud, trying to earn their approval. But what was the cost? And what kind of mother would I be if I showed up to that dinner while my kids sat at home, wondering why they weren't good enough? No, I wasn't doing this anymore. They made their choice. Now it was my turn to make mine, and they'd regret it sooner than they thought. That phone call stuck with me long after it ended. I kept replaying her words in my head, hearing that dismissive, casual cruelty that made it so clear. Daniel's kids were cherished. Mine were barely tolerated. And they didn't even try to pretend otherwise anymore. I walked into the living room where Emma and Lucas were still laughing inside their pillow fort. I smiled, real this time, and knelt down beside them. "All right, you two," I said, trying to keep my voice light. "Who's up for a movie night?" Lucas popped his head out. "Can we watch the one with the talking dog?" I scooped him into my lap, kissing the top of his head. "Of course we can, buddy." As we curled up on the couch, I held them tighter than usual. And even as we laughed at silly cartoon dogs and ate popcorn, the fire inside me kept burning. For years, I'd followed their rules, bent over backward to be seen, to be equal. But it was never enough. And I was finally done. The next morning, I got a text from Daniel. "Daniel, Mom says you're being difficult about Thanksgiving. Why do you always have to make everything so dramatic?" I stared at the screen, my jaw tightening. "Me? Oh, so she told you she uninvited my kids, but not yours?" The typing bubbles popped up, then disappeared. Then came his response. "Daniel, she just wants a calm dinner. You know how your kids can be a lot. A lot. Like they were a burden. Like they were noise, not joy." Something inside me snapped. "Me? Enjoy your perfect Thanksgiving, Daniel. I won't be there." I turned off my phone before he could say anything else. If they didn't want me or my children, fine. I was done playing the part of the obedient daughter who swallowed her pride to keep the peace. From now on, they wouldn't benefit from me either. They just didn't know it yet. I didn't wait long to make my point. That weekend, my dad called, asking if I could come over and help set up their new TV. I let it go to voicemail. Mom texted a day later, asking if I could swing by the pharmacy to pick up her prescription. I left her on read. For years, they'd relied on me. I was the one who organized everything, ran errands, fixed things. I was their go-to. And Daniel, he barely showed up, unless it was convenient. But if I was no longer part of the preferred family, then I was no longer their free support system. Thanksgiving came and went. I missed 12 calls, ignored 6 texts. Then, Thanksgiving morning, I got another message from Daniel. "Daniel, are you really going to let this go this far? Mom and Dad are really upset you're ignoring them." "Me?" It already went too far when they told me my kids weren't welcome. He didn't reply. Good. I put my phone on silent and turned back to my real family. Emma and Lucas in the kitchen, helping Liam mix pancake batter. Both of them dusted in flour and giggling so hard they could barely breathe. And just like that, we made our own Thanksgiving. And for the first time in years, I felt peace. But I should have known my parents weren't done, and what they did next, that would change everything. Thanksgiving morning had been blissfully calm. No rushing to iron outfits. No last-minute anxiety about getting the kids into the car without spilling cranberry sauce all over their dress clothes. No panicked mental list of everything I was supposed to bring to my parents' house, only to be criticized anyway. Instead, our kitchen smelled like pancakes and maple syrup. Emma and Lucas were laughing at Liam, who was flipping pancakes with exaggerated flair, pretending to nearly drop them just to make the kids squeal. And me? I sat at the counter, sipping coffee, watching it all unfold like a scene from a movie I never thought I'd get to star in. One where peace wasn't just a hope, but a reality. Then my phone rang. I glanced at the screen. Mom. I let it go to voicemail. A minute later, it rang again. Then again. Liam glanced over, brows raised. Want me to turn it off? I sighed. If it's an emergency, I should at least know. I swiped to answer. Hello? Mom didn't waste a second. Oh, now you pick up, she snapped. I suppose you're just sitting at home, feeling sorry for yourself while we're all here having a lovely dinner. I rolled my eyes. If you call to gloat, I really don't have time. That's not why I called, she said, and her tone sharpened. I need to ask you something. Okay, I said slowly, already dreading what was coming next. Did you cancel the credit card? I blinked. What? The one your father uses for gas and groceries, she said, as if I should already know. It was declined this morning. A cold, sinking feeling hit my stomach because I did know what card she meant, and it wasn't theirs. It was mine. Years ago, when Dad had surgery and they were struggling financially, I'd added them as authorized users to help cover basic expenses. It was supposed to be temporary. I'd meant to remove them once things stabilized. But life happened. I got busy. They never brought it up again, and apparently, they just kept on using it. I clenched my jaw. You mean my credit card? She let out a scoff. Oh, don't be so dramatic, Allie. It's just a card. You make good money. We figured. You figured what? My voice was shaking now. That I wouldn't notice. That you could just keep spending my money forever. Oh, come on. Don't act like this is some kind of betrayal. She huffed. We raised you. The least you could do is support us now. My stomach turned. Are you serious right now? After what you said about my kids not being welcome, you thought I'd just keep paying for your groceries, like nothing happened. We've always supported you, she snapped. This is how you repay us? I inhaled slowly, fighting the urge to scream. You know what, Mom? You're right about one thing. She went quiet, waiting. I did cancel the card. And since we're being honest now, let me make something very clear. You won't see another cent from me. Ever. She gasped, as if I'd slapped her. Allie, don't be ridiculous. I cut her off. And while we're at it, don't expect Christmas gifts or birthday gifts or anything else. You made your choice when you told me my kids weren't welcome. Now I'm making mine. There was silence. Then in a tone colder than I'd ever heard from her, she said, You'll regret this. And she hung up. I stood in the kitchen, the phone still warm in my hand, my entire body vibrating with fury. Liam looked over from the stove. Everything okay? I forced a smile. Yeah, just taking out the trash. He didn't ask for details. and I didn't offer them. The rest of the day was ours. Board games, cookie baking, Christmas movie marathons. No tension, no guilt, just us. And even though it felt good, I knew it wasn't over because my parents weren't done. The silence didn't last long. 3 days after Thanksgiving, my phone lit up with a call from Daniel. I debated ignoring it. I should have ignored it. But curiosity got the better of me. I picked up. "What do you want?" He didn't bother with the hello. "What the hell, Allie?" he snapped. "Mom just called me in tears, said you cut them off. What is wrong with you?" I closed my eyes, pinching the bridge of my nose. "Did she also tell you that she and Dad have been using my credit card for years without asking?" There was a pause. "Then she said you were helping them." I laughed, sharp, humorless. "No, Daniel. I helped them years ago. They just never stopped taking. And now, after treating my kids like garbage, they're acting like I'm the villain because I shut it down." He sighed. "Look, I get that you're mad." "Do you?" I cut in. "Because you've always been their favorite. They've never excluded your kids, never forgotten their birthdays, never skipped their events, so no, you don't get it." He paused again, then said, "Maybe we can work something out, like, I don't know, a smaller monthly amount, just so they're not completely cut off." I blinked. "You're kidding. I'm just trying to find a compromise." He muttered. "You mean I keep giving them money, even though they made it crystal clear they love your kids more than mine?" "They didn't mean it like that," he said weakly. "They said it, Daniel." Silence. Then stiffly, "Fine, be selfish, but don't expect Mom and Dad to forgive you anytime soon." I smirked. "I'll survive." And I hung up. For the next few weeks, the silence resumed. No calls, no texts. It was almost eerie, but in a good way. For the first time, I wasn't checking my phone out of habit, waiting for approval or dreading some passive-aggressive message. And just when I thought they'd given up, they pulled one last stunt. It was the week before Christmas, when Liam found the envelope in the mailbox. "It's from your parents," he said, handing it to me. I raised an eyebrow. "Let me guess. Guilt trip or gaslighting?" He chuckled. "Only one way to find out." I opened it, and my heart stopped. Inside was a formal legal document. They were demanding reimbursement for emotional and financial support. I read the words twice, then laughed out loud. "They're billing me," I said, stunned. "They're literally billing me for being their child." Liam grabbed the paper, scanning it. "Are you kidding me? Food, school clothes, dentist visits. Are they actually trying to invoice you for your own childhood?" "Apparently," I said, pointing to the total at the bottom. 78,542 zales. Liam let out a low whistle. "They seriously think you're going to send them nearly 80 grand. I leaned back, rage and disbelief mingling in my chest. "This isn't about money. It's about control." He nodded. "So what do we do?" I looked at him, calm and resolute. "We pay them a visit." The morning of our visit, the air was crisp and sharp with the promise of winter. Liam and I pulled up to my parents' house, an old brick place with the same creaky porch I remembered from childhood. My heart hammered in my chest, but I kept my expression neutral. This was no longer about nostalgia or family tradition. This was about setting boundaries. I rang the doorbell. Mom answered, her eyes widening when she saw me. Allie. Her voice was cautious now, almost afraid. Dad shuffled in from the living room, face ashen. I stepped inside, holding the envelope with their ridiculous invoice. We need to talk. Mom crossed her arms. About the letter? I nodded. Yes, you sent me a bill for emotional and financial support. Dad laughed nervously. It was a joke. I raised a brow. A joke? Yeah, we just wanted to get your attention, Mom said, voice softening. We miss you, Allie. And the kids. I shook my head slowly. You want to talk about missing us? How about all the times you made us feel unwelcome? The way you favored Daniel's kids, ignored mine. Dad looked away. We never meant to hurt you. Intentions don't erase actions. Liam stepped forward. We're not here to fight, but we're done with the past. We want to find a way to move forward as a family, on our terms. Mom's eyes filled with tears. I don't know if we can fix this. I softened slightly. Then let's start small. No more using my credit cards, no more gaslighting, and no more excluding the kids. Dad nodded slowly. That's fair. I glanced at Mom. Can you do that? She sniffled. I'll try. It wasn't a perfect reconciliation, but it was a start. As we left their house, I felt lighter. For the first time, I wasn't just a daughter caught between loyalty and pain. I was a woman who had found her voice, and this time, I wasn't afraid to use it. The morning light filtered through the curtains as Liam and I stood on the porch. The weight of what was about to happen pressing down on me. My parents' house looked the same, weathered but stubbornly standing, just like the memories tucked inside it. When Mom opened the door, her smile was hesitant, almost fragile. Dad lingered behind her, his usual confidence diminished. I wasn't sure you'd come, Mom said quietly. I stepped inside, the envelope heavy in my hand. We need to talk about this. I held it up, the invoice for emotional and financial support. Like a challenge, Dad chuckled nervously. It was supposed to be a joke. We just wanted your attention. I met their eyes, steady and unyielding. A joke? Sending a bill to your own daughter for love and support isn't funny. Mom's face crumpled. We miss you. We miss the kids. And yet, I said, there were so many times you made us feel like outsiders. You favored Daniel's family. You ignored ours. Dad looked away, the weight of guilt settling in. We never meant to hurt you, but it did, I said, and that can't be undone by words. Liam stepped forward, his voice calm but firm. We're not here to argue. We want to rebuild, but it has to be on new terms. Mom's eyes glistened with tears. I don't know if we can fix this. I softened, letting my guard down just a little. Then let's start small. No more using my cards, no more gaslighting, no more excluding the kids. Dad nodded slowly. That's fair. I looked at Mom. Can you do that? She nodded, wiping away a tear. I'll try. We left their house with no grand promises, no sudden miracles, But for the first time in a long time, I felt something fragile and new. Hope. I was no longer just the daughter caught in old wounds. I was a woman reclaiming her voice and her family. And this time, I was ready to fight for both.